Alright, everybody, welcome back. So, I sort of dropped the ball on the invasion schedule this week because, well, the people I live with had decided to make some plans, and that sort of killed all my free time on my days off. But this video is going to be a little longer by the nature of this particular invasion on screen. It's about 11 minutes long, but it did feel like an eternity. Yeah, I come over here to see if they drop down, and they haven't yet. But a lot of this invasion is just at a standstill. I don't know why I paused here. Probably to pet my dog, because, well, he's needy. Always. Yeah, so it did take me some time to think about where they might be, and I realized they're over by the little Millwood Tower Fortress, whatever you want to call it. So I proceed to book it there like a bat out of hell. The one thing I hate about coming through here is, unless they're moving, you can't necessarily tell if the wolves are alive or dead. But obviously you can tell they've been agitated, but I really didn't need them to tell me that because, well, I saw where the damage marker was. So I try and come through here to hopefully save some of the Millwood Knights, because they are going to help me in this invasion. I think I had invaded these guys beforehand, but I'm not quite sure because, like I said, all of these clips in these recent videos are like a month or two old. But yeah, I do my best to roll catch them with the Ultra. Largely because it's what I like to stick to. Unless I'm making trades, then I'll switch to the Black Knight Great Sword, or just the Black Knight Sword. Yeah. So this guy, he will do this a lot in this invasion. And I know at some point I switched to the Black Knight Sword to try and circumvent it, mostly because that guy comes in and I know that I can't hyper armor through both of their attacks at the same time. So this is basically where the standstill happens, is me trying to figure out how to take them both on, and they're trying to get in pot shots with a bow. So while we're watching the fight, because all it is just Kingslayer goes in to attack, and then I will attack, and then his Phantom will come in and shoot me with the composite bow. And Kingslayer will try and go for those backstabs. But this particular build is my Black Knight cosplay. When I first started this build, it was the first one I had made after all my saves had got deleted. I don't know if from went on a purge that day or what happened. But this is PS4. So basically, the way I divide up my clips is any dried finger runs are PC. God, I can't talk this morning. And then most of my PvP clips are going to be on PS4. But yeah, So there I just tried to trade with them, and I had built this particular build around the Black Knight Greatsword, but I had decided to just go for a full-on cosplay, because why the hell not? It's what I had ended up naming the character. Um, so, yeah. And I do whiff a lot of my swings to try and bait people to come in while I'm coming out of the animation. I know eventually I switched to the Millwood Greatbow. I don't know when, because I haven't seen this clip in a long time. This is post-commentary, but like I said, I haven't seen these clips in a while. So yeah, sorry for my lack of lucidity here. This is what happens when the first thing you do when you wake up is try and record some commentary. So yeah, they try and play to the high ground, which eventually comes to bite them in the ass. Because I had been invading in this particular area all night that night, and up ahead it drops off. So I had been using that again, don't just wake up and do commentary because you're behind. But I think eventually it came down to me trying to push them up towards that ledge so they would fall down. And it doesn't really come to fruition till I kill the white. Or the Phantom. I don't know if he's a white or a gold. But now that I'm looking at this now, what I really should have done is just gotten over the fear of the parry from the Dragon Crest shield, and just gone one-handed, so that way my field of attack is a lot wider than the slam downs that the two-handed does. So this is where the standstill takes off. Me trying to figure out whether or not, well, what the best plan of attack is. And I don't heal just yet because I'm trying to conserve my Estus. So here's the point where I give up, and, well, not necessarily give up, but just try to get a faster weapon and use Perseverance to do the trades. Because that's literally the only thing I think that was, well, I thought that was going to save me at the time. But my love of running attacks never works out. So this is where things pan out, because I think I can take the advantage here with the Hammer Millwood Knight. And if I remember right, I think I do. So I try to persevere to be able to tank the attacks. Oh, okay, now I remember. So the wolves come out of goddamn nowhere and turn the tide in this fight for me. So I get the riposte to, well, put the fear of Gwyn into this host, and oddly enough, he doesn't try and back off immediately. So the big wolf ends up killing the Phantom. So I go to pursue, and yeah, this is pretty much the end of it. So I try to plunge down, but somehow he manages to beat me. Or, I managed to beat him down even though he fell first. So, I try to resort to plunging attacks, and while it does help, he does manage to get back to full Estus, so this becomes a one-on-one duel. And he gets the backstab again. Thanks to Project Goof's new video, that's something I'm going to try to work on if I have the patience for it. While I'm okay with dying, I also like having a decent win rate, so when I practice the rolling backstabs, it's gonna be a bit of a challenge for me. So I changed to the Black Knight sword because that way I don't get caught in as many backstabs, because that has been his bread and butter in this fight. But now that he's turtling behind his shield, I know that my bread and butter to try and get through this is to break the shield. So now it's basically gotten to the point where he realizes he can't trade with me, and I stay away from the curved sword because I know the roll catch it can do. So I switch to one-handed after finally getting it through my thick skull that he will not go for the parry. And it saves me on animation time, and it provides me like 180 degrees of protection. So yeah, I think the host is starting to panic at this point, because it's where he realizes that he can. With his Phantom gone. Yeah. With his Phantom gone, it pretty much ends it. So yeah, on to the next one. Alright. So this particular invasion, it baffles me. Not because of anything that I do, but because of the way the host and their Phantoms play. I had invaded these guys beforehand, and they had just absolutely wrecked me. Largely because one of the Phantoms has the Cestus, so he persevered to poise through my hyper armor. And then the host, which is the one with the Dragon Slayer Great Axe, got me into a hit stun and just absolutely murdered me. But when I came into their world again, I realized that here, I have more of an advantage on this hillside. Because, my weapon is bigger and I have more poise. Like that. When they're all bunched together like that, I can hit all three of them at the same time. I have no clue what the deal was with that homing soul mass. Because that should have done way more damage, but it didn't even look like it hit me. So now they're pursuing, and I try and take things back to the mobs, because that's the only way I'm going to be able to take all three of them on at the same time. I'm not sure which one is chucking the pyromancies, to be honest with you. But, it looks like they're all some sort of faith build, or some sort of magic build, because this Phantom has Tears of Denial, though I've never used Tears of Denial, so I don't know what the faith requirements are. I see that they've taken out my ads, so I go to retreat back down into the Corvian settlement, and I keep an eye behind me just in case they all pursue. This is where it baffles me, because they all should have been able to come down at once. So instead they're taking bow shots at me, which is fine. It's probably what I would have done. So I sit here and wait and see if they're going to pursue. And I look up and it's the host coming down by themselves. So I kick it into high gear and try and take them out as soon as possible. I don't know if the host thought she could take me by herself, but it doesn't end well for her. And the one Phantom does come down. But yeah, on to the next one. Alright, so this particular invasion is another one where the behavior of the hosts and phantoms just baffle me, and it ends the same way. It ends in the same way the last one did, sort of. Um, that right there, that big ass hammer, is the reason why I want to learn to roll backstab. Because that is the quickest way to shut me down is multiple phantoms and one of them has a hammer. Um, so I know I can poise through everybody else's uh, bullshit, and but I know I can't take on four of them at once. So I go down to the courtyard here, hoping they'll pursue, and it doesn't look like they do. So I keep my eye open for the top there just to see if they will drop down. Excuse me. Um, so I see the host's health bar, so I expect him to go pretty much drop down at any time. But it occurs to me that they haven't yet. So I sort of stick with the wing knight here. And right there, it occurs to me that they're just going to sit there and shoot arrows. Maybe just the one while the other three come down. But I don't want to take my chances either, so I hide behind the fountain and keep an eye out. And sure enough, I was right. They're all going to sit there and take pot shots with arrows. In particular, that one with the Millwood Greatbow. Doesn't seem like he can hit me, but the host comes down, and once again, the phantoms don't come down with him. So while they're all recovering, it gives me the opportunity to come in and end it. So yeah, those are all of our clips for today. I'll see you guys next time.